Welcome back. We're still on our relocation series, and today's topic that we're going to address is the different types. And we have three that we're going to cover the three types of relocation taking place today in 2025. And these three are one, upgrading. Those individuals that are upgrading from their current home to their next. Number two, is moving out of state sellers. And number three are the downsizers. Okay. Now, number one, which are the upgrading, the category as far as the age group, just, for information purposes, are primarily the older millennials born from 1980 to through 1989 and the Gen Xers, 1965 through 1979. Again, just some FYI. The moving out of state relocation sellers are primarily Gen Xers and baby boomers. And the third, the downsizers, are primarily the boomers. Okay, so what I'm hoping to do today is to cover maybe some of the different benefits or reasons why each of these groups are relocating so you can figure out where you're at in your plans, real estate plans, and how you fit in with maybe of what's taking place and how you can benefit from it. Now, I will say this, out of these three types, the number three, which are the downsizers, the baby boomers, they represent the largest group of both sellers and buyers in 2025 thus far. And to give you an idea, what I mean is on the seller side, on the selling side of all the different groups, this group, the downsizers, baby boomers, represent 53%. That's over 50% of all properties being sold are being sold by baby boomers. So that's a very large number. And then on the buyer side, also representing the largest amount of buyers, we're at 42% in the same group. So these are the individuals downsizing, selling their properties, and 42% of them are buying another property. So a very large number for the baby boomer groups, primarily downsizing. Okay, so let's look at some of the reasons why these different groups are doing what they're doing. Okay, on the number one group, the upgrading, again, these are primarily older millennials and Gen Xers. They're looking for a bigger and better home, right? They bought their first home usually, or maybe they're at their second property that they've owned, and they're expanding. The family's growing, they're making more money, and they're looking for more space or a different neighborhood. Better school districts, right? As children start going to middle school, high school, the school district is very relevant, and a lot of these upgrading relocation type here, they're looking for that, right? A better school district. Another is they're taking into consideration the appreciation factor, right? Maybe their current neighborhood has an appreciation factor for the last 5, 10 years of maybe 8%. And if they were to take their equity and move it and to a different neighborhood with an appreciation factor of maybe 11%, that's a big improvement, right? So appreciation factor plays a part here. Opportunity cost, taking into account outside of the, having a better lifestyle, better school district, better home, there's some cost, some of these individuals, if they stay in their current home, that they lose out on. So they take this into consideration. And also on the next one, even though we're back to what we call regular market, the rates are where they really do need to be as far as an economy to keep it healthy, especially in real estate. Though, if these individuals know that even if they give up that lesser rate that they have on their current home and they get today's rates, which is probably, a little higher in most cases, they also know that with time, if rates do take a dip again and they go down, they can always refinance, right? And We see this happen in the last 40 years. Each time rates would go down, people would refinance. Some people bought their homes at 18% interest rates. When they dipped to 10%, they refinance. When they dipped even lesser than that, they refinance. So that's always a good opportunity, right? That these individuals understand that even though these are fixed payments, they're not stuck with the rate forever. Okay, they have that option. So being aware of that. Another reason of these individuals upgrading, excuse me, is because from their current home, once they sell that property to buy the next, in most cases, they have over 20%, 30%, even 40% sometimes of equity. They take that money and put that money down on their next home, which allows them to not have mortgage insurance, have better interest rates, better loan options. So, just having that 20 to 40% down on your next home is a big reason. And a lot of these individuals are taking advantage of that. And lastly is that even though the transaction involves a lot of moving parts, they're understanding through media like this more of the process. So the fear is subsided, and they're making that decision a little easier, even though it's still a bit of a complex process. And working, of course, with the right real estate company, right? So that's the upgrading. Number two here is the moving out of state relocation sellers. Here it's again, it's more of the Gen Xers and boomers. And what they're looking for here is seeking a place with lower cost of living. I think we know in California, most counties, right, do have a higher cost of living. And these individuals are looking for greener pastures where they can what? Keep their cost of living at a lesser amount. Next, we have another reason for these moving out of state relocation sellers is less taxes. Certain states have less taxes, right? Income tax, capital gain tax. They might not have any at all. Or they may be looking also for more protection, homestead protection. So that's another reason. Or they looking for more leisure and more space, getting more home for their buck, right? Or lastly, here for this group, sometimes it may be the politics, okay, of what's happening in California. Agree or disagree? Again, this is not a political statement, though a lot of these individuals may be moving for this reason alone, okay? So that's the moving out of state relocation sellers. And three, which is the larger group, as I mentioned at the start of this video, is the downsizers. And this, again, is more of the boomers born from 1946 to 1964. One of the benefits, of course, or what they're seeking is lower cost of living. Because if you have a larger home, the maintenance is higher, right, to sustain the electricity, water, any other utilities. So they're looking to, bring those costs down. Uh, Paying, this one here we've been able to do with a lot of individuals here in the South Bay and throughout the LA County, where they sell their home at a very good price, right? Because it's a larger home. And the next home, so they're buying something smaller at a lesser price, they can pay cash for it, right? And the excess amount of what they have remaining from the sale of their home, their current home, they put that away for a rainy day, for savings, reserves. So that's a big plus, right? They sell something for, let's say, 1.8 million, and then they buy something for, let's say, 900,000. The other 900,000, they put that away for themselves. Okay, so that's a big reason. uh, Also, the two propositions, and these apply to California only. So if you're watching this in California, these are two big benefits. One is Prop 19, right? In this group, they're selling their current home. Even if they sell it, going back to that example, at 1.8 million, their property tax amount may be based on maybe 500,000, right? They can take that amount and transfer that property tax basis to another county, anywhere in California, under Prop 19, which will keep their taxes the same, right? So Prop 19. And then once they do make the move, as we know here in California, which not too many states have, is Prop 13. And Prop 13 puts pretty much a not a lock, 100% lock, but the increase per year is very minimal, right, on the property taxes. So these individuals taking advantage of Prop 19, transferring their existing property value tax amount to their next home, big plus. And then once they do so, it's locked, or like I mentioned, the gradual increase is minimal under Prop 13. So this way they can plan accordingly for their retirement, knowing what they're going to be paying 3, 5, 10 years, 20 years from now on the property taxes. So these are the big benefits of this group, and that's why we see that percentage being so high. On number one category, downsizers, baby boomers, on both selling properties and buying properties. And, that's not as common. So it's a good thing that this is happening. These are the three different main types of relocation sellers that's happening now in 2025. And if you find yourself in any of these categories, or you're not sure how these benefits can apply to you, reach out to us. If you're here in Southern California, or if you're not, reach out to a specialist in relocation, which we have here at Casa Bella Realty Group. Thank you for watching. We're going to continue with our relocation series, covering other topics that can affect your move. So continue coming back. Thank you.